In this video, I tested 10 Minecraft features that changed between 2016 and 2026. Now, most of you probably already know about the enchanted golden apple crafting recipe, which was removed in February of 2016, so why don't we start with something a little more interesting? Because also in February of 2016, Mojang removed more than half of Minecraft's potions. Yes, you see, formerly Minecraft used to have the smooth potion, the uninteresting potion, the bland potion, the suave potion, oh, I wish I could have some of that, the clear potion, oh, the refined potion. The interesting potion. Wait, I lied. It's just the uninteresting potion again. Well, how about the bulky potion or the elegant potion? Well, as it turns out, all of these potions do the exact same thing, which is nothing. So let's just throw these into our brewing stand and actually move on to something about potions which actually did change for the better or for the worse, because to be honest, I don't like having to do blaze powder in my brewing stands to brew potions. This is a completely terrible change. So if 2016 was such a terrible year for potions, how was it for the wider subject of Minecraft combat? Well, that depends entirely on your perspective. You see, in the version 1.9 combat update, the combat system was entirely changed. And now, in order to be able to attack mobs, you can't just spam click them anymore, but you actually have to wait for a cooldown timer to expire. And you can't even block your sword anymore. Now you have to craft a special shield item to gain the ability to block and defend yourself from attacks. Personally, I like both systems pretty much, but I will leave the decision to you guys. Please let me know in the comments whether you prefer 1.8 combat or 1.9 combat. But enough dunking on 1.9 now, because it's time to move on to the next major update of 2016, which was the Frostburn update. Now, the Frostburn update actually made several changes relating to mobs, and previously you would have zombies spawning in desert biomes, and you would have skeletons spawning in ice biomes. However, now it is quite rare to find a zombie in a desert or a skeleton in an ice biome, because these mobs have essentially been outlasted by the husk and the stray respectively. However, our next change to Minecraft is much more impactful, because it essentially changes the entire way that Minecraft combat is played. You see, with 1.9, the end crystal was introduced as an item for the first time, and it drastically changed PvP. However, another drastic change to PvP would not come until 2020 with the Nether update, which would drastically change both single-player and multiplayer Minecraft with the introduction of netherite armor. Now, wherever you look, the pro players are wearing netherite armor instead of the traditional diamond. But I would argue that an even more drastic change also took place all the way back in 2016 with the 1.11 exploration update. You see, this update introduced the Totem of Undying as an item, which essentially allows you to survive any death, and this completely changed the way the game is played, especially in Minecraft Hardcore. But I would argue that an even bigger change made by the 1.11 exploration update was the addition of the firework rockets, which is the ability to propel elytra. Now, firework rockets had been in the game for quite a long time by this point, but they were practically useless except for decoration. But with the 1.11.1 update released in December of 2016, the firework rockets and the elytra combined to make all existing Minecraft transportation systems essentially obsolete. You see, previously in Minecraft, if you want to get somewhere, your best bet was probably either riding a pig, riding a horse, or driving a minecart, and minecarts of course take time to lay down some tracks, and they're not even that fast, unless you're playing on the Legacy Console Edition, which had minecarts at double speed. But since we are playing on the Java Edition and not the Legacy Console Edition, which is the best version of Minecraft in every single way, we will have to go ahead and just use our normal regular speed minecarts, unless of course we are using the elytra and firework rockets, which were wonderfully added for us in 1.11.1. But just a couple of updates later, a brand new transportation system would be added for us, or actually it was one that had still existed for the very beginning of Minecraft itself, but was just not used very well. You see, before version 1.9, the combat update, boats for Minecraft were terrible. You would get into a boat and it would just break instantly, or wouldn't even go anywhere, and it would just zoom off whenever you got out of it. So boats were practically useless. Now 1.9 did fix the boats, but the water was still pretty useless and you weren't able to get around in it very well. You would just sink to the bottom and try swimming around and nothing would happen. However, this would all be fixed by the 1.13 aquatic update, which would be released in 2018. You see, now in addition to the water having lots of additional plant life in the form of coral and lots of additional animals in the form of fish, which previously you could only get from your fishing rod. By the way, previously, instead of corals, there was only a single, or like maybe you could count it as 2 blocks. In the case of the sponge, you could count that as the only real aquatic block in the game, but now you have all these different coral blocks and all these different fish mobs as well. But anyway, look, the aquatic update heavily changed water, and now you can actually swim in the water, so I do think that that is a huge improvement. But another huge improvement was made only a couple of years later, because you see, with the Nether update in 2020, the Nether was completely overhauled. And with this overhaul came a whole host of exciting new features, most notably the 5 brand new Nether biomes, and these were all well and good, but one sad thing that did come with another update was the removal of the zombie pigman mob and the replacement of it with the zombified piglin mob. And I do think that that is probably a bad thing, because I loved the zombie pigman, and you know what? I like the the zombified piglin too, but it's just nowhere near as good as the zombie pigman was, and I do not know why. I struggle so much to pronounce that. But you know what? Another change that came a few years earlier than another update was the texture update, and the texture update completely changed the look and feel of the Nether, because before, the Nether felt like this hellish place, and you go into it and maybe you don't really enjoy it that much, much, and you had this netherrack texture, and everybody hated the netherrack texture. Everybody was always dunking on it, but you know what? It's okay. It's a good texture, and another quartz ore texture, and a gravel texture. Those two have also changed quite significantly.